It's a whole new year. Welcome. Welcome to the new year and welcome to Opin Facts.
Welcome.
Let's just roll on into the new year with something new, something fresh, something just necessary for life, you know? This is Opin Facts, where we talk openly about the facts and opinions surrounding our culture across generations. I am your lovely host, Nelle, and to my left is my even lovelier host, Dr. J.
Hey.
Say hey to the people.
Hey, people.
And real quick before we begin, we do this before every episode. We're going to wind down, okay? We're just going to reflect real quick on the day before we get into the nitty gritty. And this episode's wind down is courtesy of Pacific Fruit Vineyards. This is the sweet watermelon, and I must say it's just giving summer in the wintertime.
We need that.
We definitely need that. So go out and get you a bottle. It's delicious. They have plenty of flavors. Indulge. Treat yourself. Okay? Another thing we're going to do before each episode is our icebreaker. Our icebreakers are courtesy of Best Self. They have a lovely starter pack that just has all these great questions to kind of get the conversation flowing and really good topics to just reflect on. So
good conversation.
Do the honors, please, Dr. J.
Let's see what we have here in this
Pick a card. Pick any card.
Okay. All right. What are you most worried about with the next generation?
Ooh.
Good one.
What am I most worried about? You want me to go first?
Yeah, go.
Because I guess that would be us, right? What I would say that I'm most worried about is overall poor decision making as a result of trauma and resentment. If that makes sense. I feel like our generation and the generations that come after us have been through a lot. We've seen a lot. We've done a lot. And I don't want that to propel us into a sort of vengeful vendetta of decision making that's just, they messed it up for us, so let's stick it to them.
Yeah.
I don't want that for us.
Revenge mode.
Yes, revenge mode.
Yeah, I think for me, what I am most worried about, and not to sound like my mama right now, but that the next generation is going to be so far removed from religion that there'll be no church for the kids, and it's not their fault. It's not your fault, your generation, because I think what you have seen is a lot of conflicting, some would even say hypocrisy with religion. So I worry about that. I worry about that. But you know what? Deep down, I think y'all are going to be okay.
I do too. I think so. You know what? In the famous words of Chloe and Halle, I think the kids are all right. Yeah. I think the kids are all right.
Yeah.
As much as we have all these worries and concerns, I think just like the generations before us, everything's going to turn out fine. It's not going to be perfect. We're going to have our bumps. But I think we'll be good, y'all. We just got to, stay positive, keep the love, and mind your business. Right?
I think, though, even as far as my concern, that what we gave you was the sense of right and wrong. So I think that I'm hoping that sticks and it translates and you pass it on to your kids. Yeah. And so you're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right. All right?
Yeah.
So that actually beautifully snowballs us into our topic for tonight. And that would be, how do I want to sprinkle this on the folks? Love, relationships, and marriage. And let's compare the generations. Let's see what we've got going on now and how that's so different from what love, relationship, and marriages look like maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago.
So pretty much relationship trends. Right?
Relationship trends.
What we did and what y'all are doing now. I'm going to go with one that was something back in my day.
Okay.
It was the no sex before marriage thing, right?
Such a taboo topic.
You know, we had people who met on their wedding day or very close to their wedding day. They weren't even allowed to hold hands before the wedding day.
So how you know you want to marry him? You don't even know what his skin feels like.
So what's going on with you guys these days?
You know, I think we tried that. I think okay, for a brief second. I think we tried it and we realized that so many problems come from not truly knowing someone before you enter into a relationship. And as prude as we want to be, we can't dance around the fact that intimacy is a huge part of getting to know what could be your potential partner. And so I think people they dipping their toes in. They're saying, you know what, I don't like the temp of this water. But how do you know if you don't dip your toe?
I guess so. But I see a lot more of moving in together.
Yes. What they call it? They call it shacking up.
Back in our days.
They call it shacking up.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that, as strange as it seems, that actually has been helping and improving a lot of the relationships in my generation. I think when we went into that sort of, okay, let's see how we even like each other. Let's see how you are at 3 a.m. when you're wandering into the kitchen for a snack. If I like what I see, if I still am like, y'all could do this, you know what I'm saying? I think it's helpful to really see someone, because we put on these masks when we meet people because we want them to like us. We want approval. Yeah. So at some point that mask has to come off. Those layers have to peel back. And the only way that happens is in your comfort zone. And what better comfort zone than your home?
Well, yeah, I guess if you look at it that way, that's not how we saw it. Right. And then we used to get married early.
Ooh.
I mean, because a lot of girls were groomed to get married. Yeah. So, it was as soon as it was legal. And sometimes even before, because your parents had to sign for you.
Yeah.
But as soon as it was legal, we got married. What's going on with this waiting until your late 20s, 30s to get married these days?
I'm going to just say, city girls, stand up. I think that we want to live our lives. I think that we no longer want to sacrifice our 20s and our 30s, because 30s are the new 20s. And we are diving into the dating pool and seeing how everything is before we just clink and lock it down. What's interesting too is Pew Research did a study on millennials and marriages, and surprisingly, a majority of millennials are not even married right now. Like they're waiting a long time. They're waiting until their late 30s, their 40s, even their 50s to get married. Only 44% of millennials were married in 2019.
So do you think it has something to do with waiting, each of you, the men and women, waiting to get more, you all say, situated, or confidence in who you are before you take on another person? Like we used to say, I need to get to know myself, but that usually happens sometime in the middle of the marriage, and then people, after they find out themselves, they often go their separate ways.
Yeah.
But is it that you all are getting to know yourself before?
Because we're trying to prevent, being with someone and then a different person leaving you. Because when you do get to know yourself, sometimes that's a metamorphosis. You change. So I think it's a lot to do with, too, the stigma of having all of, your ducks in a row, having it all together before you, what are you bringing to the table? And so if you don't have yourself together, you can't even sit at the table. And I think we're really caught up in being ready for a life that we can never be prepared for before we meet someone else, and expecting them to also be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does make sense. Another thing, we never thought of prenups. However, I think we didn't think about it because when we were getting married, we didn't have anything yet, right? We were getting married
true.
young, so there was nothing to prenup.
Right, nothing to prenup about.
We had nothing.
Right? Half a 0, 0.
We
So
had nothing. But yeah,
I mean,
see the prenup thing is catching on. And even people who aren't rich.
Because I don't think you have to be. I think assets are assets, whether they cost $20 or $2 million. But I think it also has to do with how we are approaching our dating strategy. A lot of us are, if we do marry, we're marrying on our economical and intellectual levels. So if I am at a senior corporate level making 6 figures and I have my doctorate, I'm expecting to meet someone with the same credentials, and you gonna leave with what you came in here with, because I'm gonna leave with what I came in here with. You know what I'm saying? Because God forbid something happen and one of the two kind of drifts off of the path, and you find yourself supporting someone who is now leaving you and not supporting you anymore. And
it is possible also that your generation may have been brought up in households that divorce happened, so you're more aware of that, and it's almost like you're not planning for it, but it could happen. Right.
Contingencies.
Because I know my parents, I'm sure stuff was going on, but divorce was never anything that would have been considered.
Oh yeah, we're not putting up with all that.
So
our generation, look, you look at me funny, it's over. Moving on. Look, if I wake up with, but the contrast to that, I would say, is we are doing the work on the front end. We're finding people where I don't have to say look at me funny and I'm gonna leave, because you're not gonna look at me funny, because I chose you based on that fact. I chose someone who wasn't going to rub me the wrong way, who wasn't going to berate me or degrade me. So I don't have to make those decisions. So I think that's also a cool difference in pro and con in the different generations.
And then you all would do therapy.
Oh yeah,
we didn't
talk
about stuff. No, that's not something you talk about. If something's not working, what happens in the house stays in the house. Right? You're not going to go sit on someone's couch. You're not telling a friend. You're not telling cousin. You're not telling auntie this, because your business is going to get out there.
Yeah. And you're not doing it into the relationship, nor before or after. And I think now we're prepping. Before I even commit to you, we need to commit to each other's minds. So what does yours look like? What are your trauma? What are your skeletons? What do we both need to work through? Because I don't want something to jump out and scare me 5 years in.
Right.
So that we're doing the therapy on the front end. We're doing maintenance throughout. Like, okay, we have an argument that is seeming to, bleed into a month now. We need to go find a mediator and talk to someone and see what's the root of the problem. And even after post trauma of breakups care, post trauma therapy, and how do I move on from this connection that I had for so long and was so strong with and feel lost without. So I think we're growing and learning these different tactics, and I don't want to say learning from our past generations' mistakes, but more just from their decisions and how we see ourselves in those situations and how we can kind of circumnavigate that.
And that's why I think you're going to be all right.
I do too.
That's really what
I'm confident and excited. I really think we are. I feel like it's not better, it's just different. I think marriage looks different for us nowadays. We're, like you said, we're moving in before marriage, we're getting married later, we're marrying outside of our ethnicities,
interracial
marriages. We're signing prenups, we're going to therapy, we're splitting things 50-50, we're waiting longer to have kids. It's just so many decisions that we're saying, okay, this is what happened before, how can we tweak this to make this work in today's age with what we have going on and all of the things that we face.
The last thing that I want to touch on is the division of
Fitty,
household. Whatever happened to it's a woman's work, right? We were all going out to work, and woman still had to come home and cook, or even if she wasn't going to work, she was taking care of the kids, and that is work.
It is, but
right?
I think once we open the door for business women and corporate women and opening up avenues for women to be the primary breadwinners, I think we kind of did away with that. And we realized that men can do laundry too. Men can take care of the kids too. Women can change a tire and replace
Men can cook.
Yeah, men can cook.
Sometimes
women
even
can
better.
Fix a drawer. No, for sure. I know one thing. My husband can throw down in the kitchen. So if I have to opt out, I'm opt out gladly. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're just doing things differently and realizing that, it's not a woman's job or a man's job. I think whatever you do best, you do. And whatever I do best, I can do. And we just help each other. It's a partnership.
And it depends on what's happening on that day. Mm-hmm. Right? And you all are not stuck on, everything has to be formal and whatever. It's I can throw something in the pot and make something quick.
Yeah.
And we're having it together. So
that's all that matters.
It's our thing.
Yeah.
Right? So it shouldn't matter. And I almost envy.
No.
Seriously, I almost envy what you all are going to have in the future. Because I think we missed the mark on some things, and we didn't know better. That's what we learned. Right? So I think the independence that your generation has to not, I'm going to say this, not listen to us in everything that we do, right? That you're kind of embarking, blazing your own path in a sense. I think that's admirable.
Well,
right?
We have y'all to thank, honestly. We would not be where we were if we didn't have the stepping stones before us, the blueprint to say, you know what, this road leads to the left, but what if it led to the right? How much further could we go if we just maybe took this and tweaked it a little bit, made it work a little better or smarter or even more longevity? Because that's another thing that I think we're more passionate about. We're aiming for longevity. We're all of this purpose is to find someone who we can really spend the rest of our lives with. So I think it's a beautiful way to live and live in honor of the people who came before us and the generations before us. I'm glad y'all are proud.
Yeah, so I think that we need to understand that you all doing things different is not necessarily rebellion, right? Because we tend to think of it as rebellion more than anything else.
Right.
But it is, as I said before, blazing your own path, which can be a step in the right direction. It doesn't have to be that you are going off and doing your own because you want to hurt us, because you want revenge, as you said earlier. It is doing things in a different way, and I am okay with that. And I'll go back to saying, I think you all are going to be all right.
I'm happy to hear that. Well, because if we just think it, that's not enough. So on that note, I think we'll be all right. I think y'all will be all right.
Yeah.
And
especially
for everyone,
some more of this.
Oh, for sure. For everyone watching, we hope y'all will be all right. We hope that you step into this new year with grace and with patience and with love, more love than ever, because that's what's going to get us through.
And for you old heads like me, embrace the differences that they are. Trust, they will be all right. They've got their heads on their shoulder. This when they're not looking down on that phone.
Yes. They on there. It's a little wobbly, but they on there.
But I think they're going to be all right. So support them.
For sure. Well,
yeah.
We thank you all. everyone
thank you.
watching, for joining us. Happy New Year. And we will see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like the third me go out, take me. What? Go to the Drake. What else are they gonna play? It's high and niggas won't take it. Ayy, I'm having my way. Said out here having